Adoption is a process whereby a person assumes the parenting of another, usually a child, from that person's biological or legal parent or parents. Legal adoptions permanently transfer all rights and responsibilities along with filiation from the biological parents to the adoptive parents. I think Nollywood did their part to make adoption somewhat popular. Back then, when we see Nollywood movies, we see somebody go to an orphanage and the person does what is required and the person comes back with a child because they were unable to get a child. And then years down the line, they are able to get their own child. When they got the adopted child, they showered all the love and everything on the child. And then years later, when they were able to get their own biological child, there's a way they now treat the adopted child. Sometimes the child doesn't even know that he or she was adopted until the biological child comes. And then they say, I'm not your mother, I'm not your father, we adopted you. And then the biological children, there's a way they start looking at that child that was adopted. So that's why I said this conversation is quite sensitive. Hence, we should approach it from a level of understanding as well as empathy. Because the truth of the matter is, no person who desires to have a child wants to find themselves in that position where they cannot birth their own children. Hence, the question I am going to ask: what is our current acceptance level of child adoption as a solution to childlessness? Because while you want to pray and while you want to try everything you possibly can think of, chances are that adoption may be the only option for you to have children. A lady once posted on Instagram her adopted daughter, and she wasn't hiding it. She did. After 17 years of childlessness, adoption came through for me. And it was a very emotional video. She was dancing with the daughter who was adopted. And I got thinking, her family members, how did they react to our decision to adopt this child? How did her husband react? How did his family members react? Were they open to it? Did they embrace the idea? Did they have to do it in secrecy so that nobody will know? Were they shamed? Were they supported? What was the feeling like for them? Before they arrived at that decision, what did they possibly think of? So what is our current acceptance level of child adoption as a solution to childlessness? And then beyond the couple, that's the couple who desire the child, who else should be concerned about a couple's decision to adopt? And finally, what are the possible barriers to child adoption practice in Nigeria? Let's talk. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003, 0817 923 0003. If you're unable to get through to us via the phone lines, do remember you can always send a WhatsApp or a Telegram message. The WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 030 6416. Again, 0809 030 6416. Join the conversation on social media. On X, we are at Nigeria Info PH. Our Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Remember to turn down the volume of your radio set as you call. A call screener is always on standby to take your calls first before passing you on to me in the studio. So when you do call, the first voice you would hear would not be my voice, but out of the call screener. Like I said, all of these platforms are available to have your thoughts heard. It's okay to listen, but I would love for you to call and be a part of the conversation. I look forward to hearing from you. I have Anthony. And Anthony is calling from Aba. Hi, Anthony. Welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
Yes, as I said, it's an empathy and a sensitive conversation.
Exactly.
You see, yes, it's happened to my sister, my cousin sister.
Your cousin, okay?
So she got married. She was supposed to conceive. Then whenever you come home, then you came with the baby boy and all that. She said, "This is my son and all that." But when we go out to our different places, we say, "Obanahia, at least we go to market." Do you understand?
No, I don't understand. I'd like for you to say that again.
Yes. Whenever my cousin sister, she was able to have a child or children. Then at the time, she came back with a child, a baby boy. Because that she went to America, she went to abroad, then she come back and had a baby and all that. Nobody knew about that. Nobody knew about that. Okay. Then when we go to our kitchen house, our meeting, then maybe when the person will raise up within ourselves, then someone thinks he went to market that he buy a baby.
Okay, she went to buy a baby.
Yes.
Okay, but you know.
She adopted.
Yeah, I wanted to say buying a baby is different from adopting a baby.
Yes, that's what they say. They will not even say adoption. They say buy it. Yes, They would even the way they look at adopted child, you know, I don't know how to put it.
So now
beyond the pigment. It's beyond that. So if he won't, he or she will not be the chairman or the celebrity of the family meeting because she is not a political member of the family. So
now, did you guys do your investigation? Did you guys do your investigation to find out if she actually adopted the child or if it is her biological child?
We know she's our sister. We know everything. Our own sister. And even neighborhood, even in our community, we know. So that we say that the happy we say that you cannot even use your hand to cover the pregnancy. So it's very plain, it's glaring when you adopt children and when you have a biological children, you will know it will come out.
So for your cousin, you guys still stigmatize the child that she came back home with.
So that's why it's in the community, people in our rural area, in our own side, people here, what Igbo language.
So he just gave he just said, I would like to call it a life story. Is it what it's called? Okay. He just shared something that happened in his own family. His cousin, unable to get a child, traveled and came back with a child. And he has already highlighted some of the things that child cannot become in that family. And everybody knows. So is it better people adopt in secrecy? Or is it better people open up and say this child was indeed adopted? Does it change people's attitude, people's behavior towards adopted children if the people that adopted them open up about it or if they are secretive about it? 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809-030-6416. Again, the questions I am asking: what is our current acceptance level of child adoption as a solution to childlessness? Beyond the couple, who else should be concerned about a couple's decision to adopt? What are the possible barriers to child adoption practice in Nigeria? Let's talk. I see some of your messages on Facebook. This one is from Wise Man Obadiah, and he says, it's good to do such, but please let it end up being good. Wise Man from Ahoda. Wisdom also says, good afternoon, ma. Personally, I do not have any problem with adoption, but to parents, when you adopt a child, you should be sensitive yet sensible too. There are stories of people who adopt children And when God gives them theirs, they treat the adopted one badly. This is wrong. I have also seen parents who give birth to 2 children and want more, but the woman can't give birth again. Therefore, adoption isn't always caused from barrenness. Most times, the already existing children tend to treat the adopted one badly. The thing there is that if you cannot appreciate another person's child, the way you would appreciate your own child, then there is no need for adoption. Plus, parents who want to adopt a child to add to theirs should try to educate their children to not stigmatize the one to be adopted. Why should adopted children be stigmatized? Are they not human beings? To me, they have equal rights in the family. Funny enough, sometimes the adopted children turn out to be better assets to the parents than the ones they gave birth to. Okonkwo from Rumokuta, welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, the issue of child adoption is not only for couples that don't have biological children. Even families and couples that have many children, 3, 4, 5, they still go on to adopt many children. All over the world, there are many presidents and many governors that have many children. Some even had up to 8, both boys and girls, but they still went on and adopted children. So the issue of child adoption is not a taboo, it's not evil. But one thing.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Niger Delta Cultural Music Festival.
Sunny side, it is still your number one station for Talk 90.3 Nigeria in 5M, and we're talking acceptability of child adoption in Nigeria. I try to explain the meaning of adoption as a process whereby a person assumes the parenting of another, usually a child, from that person's biological or legal parent or parents. Legal adoptions permanently transfer all rights and responsibilities along with filiation from the biological parents to the adoptive parent. And I also said that while advancement in modern medicine helps some couples overcome the problem of infertility, some couples may not get lucky. There is the option of adoption, but how many families are willing to explore that option? Now, There are people that have actually given birth. I think one of the callers pointed that out already. They are unable to conceive on their own. You know how some people have all girls and they're looking for a boy, but they're unable to conceive again to have a boy. Or some people have all boys and they want another child, a female this time around. But for some reason they are able to conceive. Some have one child and they want more. So there is the one that they don't have at all. There is the one that they want a particular gender. There is the one that they just want an additional child and they don't care about the gender. But in all, there is the need for a child or children. Now, you go to the orphanages every now and then and you find children without parents. Yeah, sometimes, yes, their parents are indeed alive. However, the parents gave them up for adoption. They don't want. So anybody that wants the child can go ahead and have the child. And like I said, it is a solution because it is not just a solution for the family in need of a child. It also creates a home and a family for the child to be adopted. Now, while some of these children are adopted at the point where they do not know anything, others are well aware that this person taking me is not my mother. This person taking me is not my father. Before now, I don't think it's something a lot of us would like to hear. There is, I want my own child. So even when adoption is suggested to some couples, there are things like, oh, it's not the same blood. We don't know the lineage of this child. We don't know the DNA. We don't know if this child came from the family with one this or one that. Now, it also would interest you to know individuals that are eligible to adopt children. Sometimes even people who are not married can indeed adopt children. Both single individuals and married couples may adopt. Note that a single person will not be allowed to adopt a child of the opposite sex, except, of course, in extraordinary circumstances. In most cases, married couples must adopt jointly. If married, then both members of the couple must be Nigerian citizens. Now, at the point of adoption, you are terminating a child's legal rights and duties towards their natural parents and substituting similar rights and duties towards adoptive parents. Now, it's one thing for you, the couple, to know you are adopting the child, or you, the person who wants to adopt. That's if you're single, to know. It's another thing for other people to know. Is it something you want to be vocal about? Is it something that you want to keep a secret because of the possible outcome? Now, what are the possible outcomes that can emanate from your decision to even adopt a child as well? And that is why I'm asking these questions. What is your current acceptance level? Our current acceptance level of child adoption as a solution to childlessness. And beyond the couple, who else should be concerned about a couple's decision to adopt and the possible barriers to child adoption practice in Nigeria? Once again, the numbers are 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003. We also have 0817 923 0007. Again, WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809 0306416. Remember to tone down the volume of your radio set as you call. Good afternoon, Didi. Talking about abduction. No, it's not abduction. No, adoption. It should be secretive to avoid social stigmatization. Personally, I would adopt not because of barrenness, but for the need of more children. Okonkwo from Nuwakuta, welcome back. Go ahead.
Yes. Like as I was saying, child adoption is not only for a couple that do not have children at all. It's for both couples that even have many children, they will adopt. Then finally, on how the society sees it, it is not something that is ugly. It's not something that is a taboo or evil. But the right thing is that meet the court. Then let them use their legal authority and power and give you all the necessary documents. When that is done, you are free to come out openly and say, this is my adopted daughter, adopted son. And no person stops. Because they know that follow the legal way and legal right to adopt your child. After all, we have two types of children in the world. We have adopted children, then we have biological children. So there's nothing like shame or need or making it secret. It's when you make it secret, people will think that you stole the child. But when you pass through legal process, your hands are clean. And people, the whole world will see that child as your adopted child. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Okonkwo from Rumukuta. Like I said earlier, if you're unable to get through to us via the phone lines, do note that you can send a WhatsApp message. Back to your WhatsApp messages, shall we? Didi, this issue is quite sensitive. This is quite a sensitive topic. Adoption is not a sin. It is a good thing. I have kids of mine, and I hope to adopt in future just for humanity's sake. Shout out to those people out there that have gone through the adoption process. Harry, the eloquent broadcaster. This other message reads, DDW, good afternoon. Apart from family land in the village and the village or community chieftaincy titles, what else is there for a legally adopted child going to lose? This issue of denial of rights by relatives of the adoptive child's parents is synonymous with rights accruing to tradition. And that's why the greedy relatives seize the opportunity. But I also suggest that DNA tests be conducted on those relatives to establish if they themselves are same parents with the person whose child they are denying a right. Personally, I worry little about the genetical origin of a child. I mean, as a Christian, how can I forget where God would tell a man whose married brother dies childless to have children in the late brother's name with the late brother's wife? Text from Oyiwo. Didi, good afternoon. I have kids, but I will still adopt when my economy improves to help humankind. Kalu from Port Harcourt. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Wendy Nana from Port Harcourt. Child adoption is a good thing for me. I personally am in support of it because most importantly, it gives the child being adopted a home and happiness. But does it make the people adopting happy? Think about it. Does it make the people adopting happy? Can they live with the reality that this child, even though they love the child so much, is not the biological child? I beg your pardon. Alex on Facebook says, good afternoon, ma. Alex from Ajib. Ma, personally, I don't think it is good to adopt. Why? Let's hear from Charles from Bonny. Hi, Charles. Welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I think in my own local palace here in Bonny Island, adoption is normal. even the one that you adopt, you can also share a property to the person. If the community also know that this is the adopted child, whatever right you have, the community will also give to that adopted child, because to us, that is your child. Whether female or male, as far as the man is alive to identify that child as his, that child have rights like other children he has. So we don't have issue of community this, community that towards any other adoption.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you. Didi, I would like to share my personal experience about this issue of adoption. I married in 2001, but no child until I came to Port Harcourt in 2008. I actually came to Port Harcourt to raise money for IVF, while my wife stayed back in the West. We did the IVF like 2 or 3 times, but failed. Honestly, I don't know much about adoption then, since it wasn't a welcome idea to me in the true sense of it. However, I got involved with another lady and eventually had 2 boys. I didn't wait for anyone to break the news to my wife when the first boy arrived. To cut the long story short, I got more information about adoption, and now we have a baby girl adopted last November. I had to sit my family down and explain things to them and let them realize that I have had the knowledge I have, and let them realize that if I have had the knowledge I have about adoption now, I wouldn't be having a second wife. And truly, most of the time, I wish I still upheld my marital vow to my dear wife, because she's a wife in all respects. My regret is that I am distant from her because I have not really had the resources to travel down to West as I used to. However, I intend to do things to show that with everything in me, she's my child. People need to have the right information about adoption. Interesting. Suggest adoption to somebody, and the person tells you, what's wrong with me having my own biological children? Now, the truth of the matter is, you never know what tomorrow holds. And God forbid, like we usually say, something happens to you. What do you think should happen to your children after you are gone? Assuming your family members take them to the orphanage. Think about it. Your child may be at the mercy of whatever is served at the orphanage until someone worthy comes for his or her adoption. Like I asked, back to the questions. Are we beginning to embrace the idea? Are we still stuck in the old ways of, no, this child did not come from me, so this child is not my child? I don't even know the man. I don't even know the woman. I don't know if the man has madness in his lineage. I don't know if the woman has same. Wisdom says, as she rightly said, after adoption, all parental rights are given to the new parent. What then happens when after many years, the parents decide to look for their child who they abandoned? Please answer this. Yes, we have seen these in movies more. We have seen these in movies before, when people adopt children. Then the real parents come later to create lots of fuss in the family. This is what people want to avoid. But this is what people want to avoid. That's why they think twice before adoption. I'm just saying. Even if they come, have you collected a legal right? Have you gone through due process? And this child has been handed over to you. Well, you guys will meet in court. Yeah. So, the Child Rights Act 2003 is the principal legislation regulating adoption in Nigeria, and it also sets out the required qualification a person must fulfill to eligibly adopt a child. The age Childless Act states that the applicant must not be less than 25 years and must be at least 21 years older. You must at least be 31 years old. Yes. The marital status and the gender as well. Where the applicant is unmarried, evidence must be shown that he or she has attained the age of 35 years and the child to be adopted is the same with him or her. Under Nigerian law, cohabiting and same-sex couples are not permitted to adopt children. The character too, Child Rights Act provides that the applicant should be a person of unquestionable integrity. And then the finances, which seems like it is what is most important. In addition to these, and most importantly, the applicant must have the necessary financial stability and means to take care of a child. So there is a process. And they just laid out some of the criteria for your, should you choose to adopt. It depends on where the adoption takes place. The specific law and regulations governing the adoption may differ. For example, adoptive parents must foster their children for at least 3 months in Lagos. And this means that the prospective adoptive parents must have physical and temporary legal custody of the adoptive child for at least 3 consecutive months immediately prior to petitioning the court for an adoption decree. For adoption to take place, the court, that's the family court where the child resides, is vested with powers to grant an adoption order depending on the type of adoption taking place. So there you have it. It seems like it's easy. If you're over 35, maybe, just maybe, the solution you are looking for is not far from you. I want my child, but then it doesn't happen. Would you adopt? I think what is holding back some people from adoption is the fact that both couples can't agree on the said matter. Sometimes the wife would have to beg until the husband says, okay, fine. Sometimes it's the man begging and the woman is saying, okay, fine. These are concerns. But again, sometimes it's not the family members, the immediate family members, that makes the child feel unloved, uncomfortable. It is the relatives of the couple. The father-in-law, the mother-in-law, the parents, mother, father, the siblings. Would you be free? Would you open up? Would you tell the truth about the origin of the child? Or, for fear of things like stigmatization and all of that, would you rather keep it a secret? Again, 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 and 0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809 0306416. Remember, we're still on X at Nigeria Info PH on X, and then the WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809 0306416. So this message reads, adoption is good if done legally. Some men and women commercialize it by stealing disadvantaged children from homes and schools, thereby changing the child's ethnicity. Such individuals have sinned against sin before men and God, our Creator. said them that they were adopted? Are you going to let them find out on their own later on in life? Are you going to do all that you can for them not to know that they were indeed adopted? Are you going to explore that option? Or is it a God's time is the best thing for you? You tell me. Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Go there, watch live, and be a part of the conversation. On X, it remains at Nigeria Info PH. Nigeria Info, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon.
This is normal caller, Emeka from Owerri.
Emeka from Owerri, you're welcome.
You see, the issue you raised is a serious concern, I understand. But the major problem is not, if you go throughout all over the world now, especially Nigeria, people are looking for children. The major concern over what is happening in the motherless home is that if you look at this motherless home, most of them, what they use to train these children are from public donors. You understand? They send people or nothing to take care of these kids. But when you go to adopt these children, that is the way they're encouraging those so-called illegal motherless home. They will tell you a side is 2 million. I think that is the area I even want to come into this issue. These people, they are encouraging the illegal motherless home businesses in Nigeria. You can see what is happening in almost everything. Baby factory all over there. So if the government can come in and let people this focus and let us give this child to the people that needed this child. Husband and wife that they are willing to go to this child, take care of that child, take the child to school, take the child as their own child. Instead of the money they are calling in name of releasing the children to be the appropriate parent. So that I'm really concerned. If you adopt, you can tell your child, I can't. You can tell somebody, I adopted you, or what. You can tell, it has done. Most of the ones you call the biological children. Are you sure 100% that they are all biological children of the parents? If you go to go or not. If you take 100 women and their children to the DNA, the result may surprise you, but shock you. So we're not even going to the issue of whether it's a biological mother or not, or maybe we will tell them. I think that one is relevant for me. But the problem is, the government to come into what the motherless, registered motherless home are doing. They are charging so high, so exorbitant that nobody can afford. That will now result going into those illegal court, according to you. So government to come in. If you see husband and wife that are telling me they need these children, they need them and they take care of them, take them to school, do what parents can do to their children. Give it out. I want them to stay there collecting money from individual donors and others. I can't understand. That is just my take, my sister. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Emeka. Do you think that you can love your adopted child the way you would love your own biological child? See, I think for some people it's the fact that this person is not my blood. Yeah, I know some people have adopted their relative's child because the relative wasn't doing well. They probably did not make it official, but the relative's child has been living with them for a very long time until she has become family or he has become family. How do you treat this child? Is it any different from the one you birthed? Or are you going to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? More loving and caring to this child? Or are you going to make the child regret that they were adopted in the first place? Think about it. Yes, to be honest, that's how some children feel. They're playing with their mates and the other one just say, do you know your father? Do you know your mother? Have we gotten to that point where we receive with open arms, we accept with open arms the fact that this is an option, it works. You're helping the needy in a way. You take that child, 2 children away from these ones, and whether you decide to give them something, I personally do not think you need to give them something. So you're not tagged as one who is involved in human trafficking. You're not buying children. (0817-923-0002) 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. Once again, the WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809-030-6416. If you're unable to get through to us via the phone lines, hello, you can send us a message on Facebook, on X, and on our WhatsApp platform. I think I can read one more message before we go on the break. Alex says, good afternoon, Ma. Alex from Ajib, Ma. Personally, I don't think it's good to adopt. Why? Ima from NTA, welcome and go ahead.
Thank you. Just briefly, let me surprise you, my sister. Are you aware that there are many adopted children today that are professional medical doctors?
I'm aware.
Are you aware? Are you aware that there are many adopted children today that are judges and magistrates?
I'm aware.
Ambassadors, governors, all over the world, including this country, Nigeria. So there's no difference if we can trace and know how the world was started.
All right, we need to go on a commercial break now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Attention broadcasters, independent producers, and content streamers. This is your chance to buy or sell quality content.
It seems like we're pressed for time, so I will just read our final messages as we begin to round off this conversation. Mary from what's this? Okay, Mary from Rukbakolosi says, okay, I think I'll go ahead and read it. My blood is my blood. Another person's child is not my blood. I can take care of children from a distance. They don't have to live with me. They don't have to call me mommy or daddy. I currently even take care of children that are not mine. However, to take on another person's child and see that child as my own child is something I would find myself struggling with.